Ken Blackwell, thanks for joining us.
Hey, Tony, it's good to be with you, sir.
Okay, you've seen this from every angle. What's going on?
Well, Tony, this is about more than just elections. This is about a march that globalists have been on for a long time. And much to my disappointment, globalists now seem to be the most vocal element of the Democrat Party. And so they are on a march to create a highly centralized federal government that, in fact, will support a drive towards a one-party system. And so what they're trying to do is to decouple local communities and states from their constitutionally designed right to administer elections. The framers of our Constitution got it right from the standpoint of making sure that the chain of custody of one's ballot was tight and under control, and two, from a verification process to make sure that people are who they say that they are, to protect legally cast ballots from those that are illegally cast. This is all part of a grand design to move us away from what has been for 245 years the best constitutional republic ever created and designed. Not perfect, but perfectible and the best. And it's the reason that millions of people are rushing here illegally and legally because we are prosperous, we are fair, we are free.
Ken, I want to go to in just a moment. I'm going to go to this issue of race because it seems like that's, they're using the Jim Crow Law 2.0 and all this stuff that the President of the United States is saying. But before I get there, I want to go to this issue of corporate America and these woke CEOs. Now, you've been mayor of Cincinnati, you've been Secretary of State, you've been treasurer of Ohio. I mean, you've served at the United Nations as ambassador. So this is puzzling me. Okay, business community have benefited from the free market conservative policies of conservative lawmakers. Primarily Republicans. Lower taxes, we understand that, you can't kill the goose that laid the golden egg. You want the economy to grow, and so lower taxes, fewer regulations help that happen. That's not come from the Democratic Party, that's come from the Republican Party. But now we see these woke CEOs pushing the Democratic agenda. Do they not realize that with this Marxist cultural agenda that goes after the family and freedom, that it ultimately comes within the doors of business? It will not stop at the doors of corporate America?
Look, these corporatists that are left-leaning are both hypocritical and they are wrong. They are elitists who benefit from double standards. You take Major League Baseball, Tony, if you want to go and get a ticket at will call, what do you have to do? You have to show ID. If you want to get into the corporate offices of Delta and Coca-Cola, what do you have to do? You have to show a photo ID. All of a sudden, these corporatists, these elitists are now taking, sight and labeling, the verification process of showing a photo ID at the ballot box as being racist. It is duplicitous, and those liberals, those elitists are stuck on stupid, and they can't gaslight us into believing that what is up is down and what is down is up. It won't work, and people are going to push back. As I've told you before, I'm not real big on boycotts, but there are economic consequences when you smack people in the face and you assault, your consumers. They, in fact, will go to the marketplace and do something else.
But when they look to government, I agree with all of that. But right now, we're talking about Joe Biden in his quote-unquote infrastructure bill. over $2 trillion, very little of it actually, about 6% of it going to infrastructure. And a part of paying, of course, most of it's going to be funded through debt spending, but part of it's going to be through increasing the corporate income tax from, I think, 21% currently to 28%. Does corporate America think that the Republicans are going to fight for them when they're turning around and opposing them on all of their efforts to try to make sure we have clean, fair, free elections in America?
You know what? These elitists, what they'll do is pass it through to the consumers. So they will be hypocritical on one end, and they will put the burden of their hypocrisy on their consumers. That's why it's imperative that we push back. We're not going to be, lapdogs for these folks to live their double standards. One of the things that we know about the Trump administration was that he in fact cut the red tape and by cutting and peeling back onerous regulations. He in fact freed up capital, attracted over $3 trillion back to America, and as a consequence, we were growing, we were producing jobs, creating opportunity, uplift in the incomes of families, and all of a sudden, these elitists, these hypocrites, these liberal one world government folks are trying to now affect a fundamental transformation of the system that created the opportunity, the prosperity for them and for our people.
Absolutely. The red tape that was cut by the Trump administration, allowing the economy to grow, is now going to be replaced by the Biden administration with duct tape. And the hands of the economy will be bound, and they're going to bear the brunt of it. I want to go now. You mentioned this issue of race. There are others speaking out on this. Congressman Byron Donalds spoke to this recently. Listen to this.
So because they don't have a sound argument, they got to go bellyache and scream about race. But it is a lie. What they did in Georgia is the right thing. It actually protects the votes for all of Georgia residents, whether you're white, you're black, you're Asian, you're Hispanic, it doesn't matter. You still have the ability to go out to the polls and vote, and nobody will stop you.
Ken Blackwell, how long will the left use this race card on every issue?
But they are the dividers and subtractors at a time when this country needs multipliers and folks who are pretty good in addition, creating greater opportunity. They want to divide this country. The whole notion of e pluribus unum, from the many one, means nothing to them. And so what they will do, they will try to destroy the incubator of liberty, the family. They will try to run God and faith out of the public square because our Judeo-Christian ethic basically says that our basic rights are not grants from government, but gifts from God. These folks want to make people believe that they are the dispenser of our human rights, and they just want us to get in line and to be docile and deal with their commands. We are free citizens. We are not, pieces on a chessboard to be manipulated. And Tony, we're going to push back. We're going to push back from the pews in our churches, from the corner drugstore or grocery store, by small and business people and entrepreneurs. We are just not going to sit back and let these elitist, double-talking folks run the game on us.
Ken Blackwell, that was essentially earlier when we had Governor Kemp on, what he said when I asked you what should people do? What should we be doing? Conservatives that are concerned about this, and of course other elected leaders. And he said this is not a time to be timid. We need to be speaking out. We need to be pushing back. We need to assert our rights. We need to fight in a spiritual matter. We have to understand this is a spiritual battle. We need to be praying. We need to defend the truth. We cannot be silent at this moment because I believe the republic is at stake.
Absolutely. And Tony, you and I always go to Psalms 11, verse 3. If the foundation be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? We shall pray up, we shall take a stand, and we shall engage. One of the things that we know is what that great abolitionist Frederick Douglass said: those who are whooped easiest are whooped most often. We, in fact, are going to stand our ground, and we're going to be true to the path that God has put the righteous on, and that is those of us who understand his word and live by it.
Ken Blackwell, always great to talk with you, and proud to stand with you.
Thank you, Tony. Always good to be with you, sir.